and welcome back to the ABCs of ERP and Beyond, the podcast all around enterprise resource planning and the benefits it can bring a modern day business. And today we are diving into a part of the business that often gets overlooked in ERP planning, but really can make or break the customer satisfaction. And that's the whole shipping process. So whether you're dealing with last minute order changes, rising freight costs, or just juggling multiple carrier portals, a modern ERP system could possibly transform this whole shipping manager's world, really from reactive chaos to proactive control. Everything from real-time inventory visibility to streamlining workflows and collaboration with other parts of the business. Today, we will break down the top 5 key benefits for ERP for the shipping team. So if you're in ops or logistics or just want to stop playing whack-a-mole with shipping issues, then this is the episode for you. And as ever, I am joined by my fellow co-host, Nirav Shah. Welcome back.
Hey, Peter. Yeah, welcome. We're happy to be back here and talk about this. And I love these segments that we do, ERP benefits for different departments. I think it, at least for me, helps me extract a lot of experiences and conversations I've had with different folks in different parts of organizations and how ERP became an instrumental, singular important piece of their job in helping them succeed in that position. And shipping is no different. I think there's some major, huge impacts that ERP can have in this particular department that most of the time goes unnoticed, right? Like the shipping team sometimes feels like they're off on their own silo. Like they're doing their own thing. Nobody really wants to, dive into what they're doing. They're shipping packages out, then they're rushing those packing slips up to the front office, and then the invoice happens, right? There's like this idea that you don't need to worry about shipping because by the time it gets to shipping, all you're doing is just is asking the carrier
chucking
to go
boxes
deliver.
out the door.
Yeah, just chucking boxes out the door, right? And just dropping off a package to the carrier to deliver to a customer. But there's way more than that. We know that, right? You look at how shipping could really impact the overall organization. One, there's a cost to shipping. How much is your shipping team going around and just trying to become a detective to find out what they need to ship today, right? What's the latest status on sales orders, right? Is the order ready to be shipped, right? Are there external forces like, hey, we can't ship this out and meet this due date, so we should tell the sales team about that, right? Or this shipping is going to cost us way too much money. We promised the customer. Now we're going to have to try to absorb it or something, right? How do we stay ahead of it? And other considerations. But I feel like shipping sometimes they don't get talked about towards the end towards the end of the sales cycle and or the implementation. But I think I like the idea of talking about shipping up front. I wouldn't say day one, but start weaving the shipping conversation into back orders, right?
Yeah.
Start weaving that conversation into how do you create a dispatch list for the shipping team to know what they need to ship that day, right? Can you extend the shipping functionality or the responsibilities of people in that shipping team to even start doing some more picking, for example, right?
Yeah.
Give them more ownership, empower them a little more to do more within their department. Can ERP alter even logistically where you start stocking some inventory and shipping once you start gathering more data out of your ERP? Like, hey, these are things that are moving all the time for us, and we really didn't even realize it, that if we move some of the stuff closer to the shipping department, that it'll make their jobs easier to ship these products out, and we could actually ship more out because we could become way more efficient, right?
Yeah.
The list could go on and on, Peter.
Yeah. I think we've seen this lots of times in all of these ERP benefits for Um, and and as you said at the start, I really enjoy doing these because I think that a lot of people see the ERP as like a back office function or a finance function only. And doing these ERP benefits for miniseries really shines the light on particular people and particular departments that you might overlook or think, well, there's probably going to be little interactivity between that department and the ERP, and that's just simply not the case. And I think this conversation today on shipping is a very good example of that. I know that we've done ERP benefits for the CFO, ERP benefits for the sales manager, and things like this. But I think this one is going to be an interesting one because, as you said, it's often an overlooked function,
Mhm.
seen as they just chuck boxes out the door, and it's not a case of that. And I think there's going to be a lot of areas that we speak about today that's going to hopefully shine some light on. Actually, yeah, if I was in the shipping function, that's going to really help. The ERP, I can see now that the ERP is going to support this particular thing. And one of those is what you were just saying there. Okay, let's get straight into it. Top five, here we go. Point number one that we've got straight up: integrated shipping carriers. Now, I kind of touched upon this at the start here about juggling all of these different carrier portals. There's a FedEx one, there's a TNT one, there's UPS Worldship. There's every single one. I'm logging in, and I've got a whole bunch of usernames and passwords, and I have to log into each one to put an order on the system. So
Right.
I think point number one, real big heavy hitter here. ERPs can integrate with the portals of shipment carriers, usually
Mhm.
through an API connection. This is huge, right?
It's massive. Even before the shipping process, when you have integrated carriers within your ERP, as you mentioned, UPS, FedEx, DHL, right? In the States here, we have USPS, right? You have all these different, and there's LTL integration as well, not just,
Yeah,
the small parcel services, but LTL integration as well, by the way. But starting up front in the quoting process, you could do rate shopping with
yeah,
this integration, right? And that helps your sales team right off the bat start getting an idea and talking to the customer with real time information, saying, hey, Mr. Customer, thank you for your order. Based on what we need to ship to you, we're looking at your shipping cost to be $21 or 21 pounds, right? Whatever it is. Right up front, you could have that conversation with them and decide what is the right service, essentially. Is it UPS? Maybe UPS Ground, or maybe it's UPS Select Advantage, or maybe it's none of those. Maybe it's DHL, right? But you could start then, like, instead of going in blind or telling the customer, hey, Mr. Customer, we're not going to know what shipping is until we get closer to shipping or when we're about to ship the product, right? You could provide that level of service and have your business stand out so they come back and do business with you because you're giving them more accurate information, right? Not just product, but also, Mr. Customer, we know your shipping's gonna cost $15. Okay, perfect. Thanks for letting me know that. Let's move on with our order.
yeah,
Instead of, oh, shipping cost me, $15, but I thought it was gonna be 5. There's no way from, my vendor to tell me that through their systems and processes. I'm a little upset now because I paid $15 instead of 5. Do I want to do business again with this vendor? Right?
yep,
So, that rate shopping upfront, I think is a huge benefit with the shipping, with this carrier integration. That obviously carries forward to the sales order, not just a quote, but the sales order. You continue to rate shop there. And then also you have rules that you could apply. So like at Acumatica, for example, you have ship vias and then you have shipping terms. So based on the order, you could tell the system, when we go and ship product to a customer, and let's say the cost of that is $10 to us, right? The carrier is charging us $10, and we want to, let's say, mark it up 10%. We could already basically activate this rule that will, through business logic, once we're done shipping, will automatically add a freight charge to the invoice going to the customer. Instead of you having to manually calculate all this out, right? Where you have to say, oh, how much do we have to bill this customer? How much was the freight? Where's the paperwork? Right? Let's not now you're delaying invoicing because you have to kind of reconcile all this. And you throw in the line, then you invoice it. So by the time the product's shipped out the door and you actually invoice, it could be 3 days, right? You've lost 3 days of collection right there,
Yeah.
right? You're delaying 3 days of collection now. So I think that's a huge benefit. We create business rules and logic around that. And not to mention, is what if a customer gave you their account? Great, no problem. You could go ahead and add that customer information, the customer account number, to their account. So a well-designed ERP system will pick that up each time on a sales order. So by the time it gets to shipping, there's really nothing that needs to happen. The shipping clerk, the shipping team, is essentially just shipping normally without having to do a special process by going
Yeah.
through a Rolodex of index cards. Oh, here's this customer. We have to use this. We have to use this account number,
Yeah.
right?
And the pain of like forgetting to hit that checkbox that you're going to use the customer's account, it goes away as well. Like I know
Mm-hmm.
that like if you're just using that UPS World chip, it's like, oh yeah, we're supposed to be using the customer's account. We need to, bill to the customer account and not, my account. Oh, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Yeah,
Um, how much freight charges are companies absorbing because the shipping team, now I'm not blaming them, but
yeah,
the shipping
yeah,
team are forgetting to check that checkbox.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's probably so much hidden cost in shipping that
Mm-hmm.
gets overlooked. And this is a good way with an integrated ERP system where you could possibly even find areas and cracks where you're going to save money in the
Yep.
shipping team, right? So like if they're using bubble wrap, if they're using other type of shipping material with an ERP system, based on how often they buy, you could use sub accounts or dimensions and allocate that dollars from that PO or that charge, right? So you could run analysis on how much is our shipping team at? What is our spend for shipping materials, right, at the end of the year? Um,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it's. I always say every ERP system should a good ERP system should be able to find ways for you to reduce cost,
Yep.
not just on the manufacturing line, not just on how quickly you can turn around and ship orders, but what about cost in terms of like, are you overbuying shipping material? Does it take you too long to put in a sales order? Right? There's cost every single place in an ERP system that you can measure
Mm-hmm.
properly and continue to drive efficiency for your business.
Yep. Yep. I think that's right in terms of the time as well, because it's like, okay, I'm salaried. I get the same, my paycheck's the same every single month.
Yeah,
But it's like the ROI of that time for the business. Like if
exactly.
I can stop doing some of this day-to-day drudgery, the admin, if I can automate this or make this quicker to do,
Hmm.
then I can make sure my teams are doing more value add for the business. I'm getting more ROI for giving them a paycheck every single month.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought about when you said materials for shipping. The other great thing with a integration with a shipping carrier is now I'm not having to go to the shipping carrier's software to print labels.
Hmm.
I can also do that in my ERP. So I'm
Right.
I'm already having to be in my ERP to mark it as shipped or mark it as fully packed. Um, how great is it if I can also just print the labels, whether that be a UPS label or a DHL label? Let me just do it whilst I'm here in my ERP.
Exactly.
That stops me having to go over to their system just to print the label.
Yeah.
That's a great function of a shipment carrier.
Mm.
So it's not just like the rates; it's like that everything about what I'd have to do in their system. I can now bring that into my system and kind of
Hmm.
automate that. Right, it means I haven't
Yeah.
got to think about duplication of work um,
Hmm.
for the shipment process.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And just to add one more thing, there is you're with the integrated shipping carrier is it's the whole element of understanding your costs, right? It's instead of having, like you said, moving out to separate systems and shipping out of there, coming back into your ERP, acknowledging the shipment is done, sending paperwork up to the front office, it becomes a more natural, relatable workflow um, for your shipping team, which would probably reduce some frustration and stress moving into multiple, doing these same transactions in multiple systems. So,
Point number two here, real-time inventory visibility.
hmm
This is big. If we're thinking about moving our mindset from the ERP being a back office function, and we already know that the shipment team are probably dictated to by the sales team or customer service team, who are sending dispatch notes down or sending pick lists, almost dictating their day.
hmm
This is another step towards alleviating that. So, real time inventory visibility is a really big point here. So, think about my biggest point. I'm going to open it up to you, and I don't want to put anything in your mind. But for me, this is the real big shift between being proactive rather than being reactive. Because
hmm
if I'm working in the shipment department, I don't want to have to be constantly telling customer service, "You sent me this ticket. I can't do anything with it. I've just gone and checked. I haven't got it on the shelf."
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And I'm a firm believer every person in the company, in some level, is responsible for inventory control,
Yep.
right? And you know, I think it's especially true for shipping because it's so important to have that visibility into what you could ship that day, what you could ship that week, provide that feedback up the chain to your planning team, um, to your customer service team, right? And make decisions on, can we ship this partial? Can we ship this complete, right? This order, or this product is reserved for another order, right? And now I know this, which is great. So now I got to wait for the remaining stock to come in on a purchase order. It's just it creates collaboration, but it gets them to start being more aware of inventory and to have accurate inventory numbers. Because as they say, Peter, um, all and fill in the blanks rolls downhill, right? So imagine everyone did their part in the ERP system, and then it comes to shipping, you slam on the brakes because nobody picked up the fact that there wasn't any inventory, right? Or inventory was bad, right? So it all comes down to shipping to evaluate that and make sure that you're going to hit your due dates. So it's really important. And I think one of the biggest benefits here, right? Obviously, you have the shipping carrier integration, is that real time inventory visibility that they could, make judgment calls. And as they ship, it's real time decrementing inventory values and quantities inside your ERP. So everyone in the organization stays on top of inventory control.
Added benefits is always tied to visibility of data and
hmm
being able to see inventory levels wherever, as you said, like every department is responsible for inventory levels somewhere.
hmm
Being able to provide the visibility of inventory and everything tied to that, out of stock issues or shipping delays or
Yep.
production delays, that just adds to the whole idea of it rolling downhill. That if you can give that to every single team to kind of pull each other and say, where's the bottleneck? Is this
hmm
on us? Because it shouldn't
hmm
be all the way to the point where something needs to be shipped and now we're having to chase that back up the hill to go, right, where is the issue? And
Yeah.
again, this is going back to this whole idea of stopping being so reactive
hmm
when it comes to um, the whole shipping process and what an ERP can do, is being able to provide that kind of visibility. And hopefully, if everyone is eyes on, and this is a critical point or a critical aspect of a business, is have I actually got the stock to ship?
Yeah.
Um, I think
Yeah.
if everyone is eyes on that, then you're probably going to be able to not just not be reactive to situations, but actively and proactively work on resolving issues or actually resolving potential issues before they even become an issue. Is this
Right.
now something that we should speak to the production team? Do we have to reprioritize our scheduling to be able to meet this? Because production might be, running inventory replenishment on something that's not critical. And
Right.
now we found out something is critical. So being able to
Mhm.
get ahead of that is key. And the idea of real-time inventory visibility really helps out on that aspect, because it
Yeah.
shouldn't be to the point where it gets to the shipment team who've got a pick
Right.
list. Now it's their problem.
Hmm.
It's not that case.
Well, yeah, exactly. And shipping makes a lot of decisions, right? Yeah, they get inventory handed to them or they have to go do the picking, but they need to decide, oh, we're only going to ship half of this order now from the inventory that we have, and the other half we're going to ship it to another order, right? Or that they're going to say, we're not going to ship this order, we're going to hold this order, we're going to ship it to a different order. So these are decisions being made every single day, right? Day in, day out by the shipping team. Well, if you don't have an integrated shipping process in your business management system, your ERP, how does that information get relayed back, right? How does the rest of the organization know that there's these back orders or that this order got shipped, this order didn't get shipped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or someone, potentially picked the wrong item, right? On a pick. So, shipping, it probably has to have a sharper, a more fine comb in their processes because that's directly going to affect the customer,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
And to give them this tool so they get that inventory visibility, I think is massive for them. Will help them immensely, uh, you know, provide that customer service that we keep talking about at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the last process before you invoice the customer is this experience of shipping, and it should be a positive experience for them, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then it starts with you know them getting the right inventory, shipping out the right quantities at a reasonable rate, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
notifications that go to the customer so they feel like you are giving them information timely of things of product and stuff like that that they should be
Mm-hmm.
receiving. That
Mm-hmm.
closes the loop from
Mm.
order to shipping, right? And the shipping piece of it closes the loop.
Yep. Yep. Point number three, and I think you mentioned this in point number one, but we can dive a little bit deeper into why this is such a benefit and why it made the top five. Controlling shipping costs better. So, how maybe highlight how an ERP allows for more accurate costing, or just giving that visibility in the first place to how much things cost to ship.
Obviously, it goes without saying, shipping can't dictate what market rates are. They can't dictate what happens to tariffs, right? They can't dictate a lot of it, right? A lot of that cost is out of their hands at the end of the day, right? They're just feeding real-time costs in from the API,
Yeah.
but they could analyze it, right? Instead of analyze real-time costs. And what I mean by that is when there's changes that happen on a sales order and the sales team has like changed quantities, for example, or change due dates. Well, you get that real time information without relying on maybe an older order that you got a rate for outside the system, right? And you just rely on that rate and you move forward with it versus you taking the most up to date data and moving forward with that data to get the most up to date rates. And to me, the latter sounds like a better idea for most companies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Instead of you printing out a sales order acknowledgement, right? And it's set on your desk. The sales shipping clerk and it's set on your desk for 3 days, and you decide, oh, I need to go get a rate for this order or line up the logistics 3 days later. But then between that time, the customers called in, they changed quantities, maybe they increased or decreased quantities, right? Or they moved out their due date, whatever it is. And you're still relying on old information. That to me sounds pretty inefficient, right? And you could start controlling costs a little bit better when you have more real-time data. I think that's where I wanted to go with this, more or less than just the fact you really can't control, UPS rates, right? They dictate their own rates,
No.
their market conditions, supply and demand, surcharges, oil prices, all that stuff. That's just gonna be things. The rate is what it is, but you can
But
stay ahead of it a little bit.
I do think that this gives you an opportunity to sign up to multiple carriers where you might not have
Yeah.
done that beforehand
Yep.
because
Yep.
you knew that it was so much donkey work, like managing, logging to various different um, carriers. Like now I can play each other off. Now I can't influence the cost, but at least if I
Right.
hit the refresh rates, I can go, oh, look, today DHL is cheaper than UPS. Like I'll just
Yeah.
put it on there. If their SLAs are relatively similar, say 2 day shipping,
Yeah.
then at least now I can pick the DHL option because it looks cheaper than the
Exactly.
UPS. So
Yeah.
they can't dictate them, but at least they can kind of go, right, this is a domestic 2 day service. It's cheaper today if I just put it on DHL over UPS.
Sure. The good thing we have going for us, Peter, at least shipping rates are not like the stock market. So you could kind of like you could kind of like have a little predictability on shipping rates, unlike the stock market. But yeah, you're
I
right.
can just I can just imagine like shipping teams, like instead of like the market trader being like buy 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 sell sell sell, they're like ship 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 hold 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 go 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 refresh, it's cheaper, ship 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 ship,
Go, 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 go.
lock it in, lock it in.
Print the commercial invoice. Go, go. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
on 4 different phones. Yeah,
On four
yeah.
different phones, exactly. But yeah, it everyone is trying to get like the best shipping rates, right? Obviously, customers don't want to spend a lot on shipping. They, they want the lowest rate possible, but the product the quickest as possible. So that's always a battle that the shipping department always faces. And having an integrated ERP system just makes that communication back to the customer a lot more seamless, natural,
Yeah.
and especially the way we all expect expect our vendors that we buy from to provide that level of service, right? Like when I buy something online, I'm expecting an email confirmation. When they ship it, I'm expecting an email that the tracking number is this. And when I had bought the material or whatever I bought, whatever shipping cost it is, I'm hoping that they're gonna abide by that price, right?
Mm-hmm.
And give it to me in that service that I had asked for. So
Yeah.
that at the end of the day, it's all part of the customer experience, right? And um, uh, the shipping team has a very critical job to, you know, have that standard and live to that standard every single day,
Yeah. Yeah.
to make those customers happy. So an integrated ERP system does that.
I think this whole idea of visibility again, going on to the customer. The customer needs to know they don't want to be in the dark about something because when
Mhm.
they're in the dark, they don't think that they're getting good customer service. They'd rather
Exactly.
know what's going on. I think a customer would rather know that an order's that my order's going to ship in 5 days' time rather than not know that it's going to ship in
Right.
3 days' time. Because
Yeah.
then I can set my expectations accordingly. If I get that email going, and it's the same as you said, like get an email when I place an order. I'm like, okay, cool. I know the order went through. I know they've got it. I'm reassured. When I
Yeah.
get that, it's shipping in 5 days' time. Okay, fine.
Hmm.
All right. I
Hmm.
hoped for 3, but at least I know it's going to be 5.
Yeah.
Not knowing at all when it's going to ship is worse. Now, that might not be that it's not going to ship for ages. It might be
Right.
it's actually going to ship in 2 or 3 days' time. But if I don't know, I'm going to catastrophize on that. Like, where is my
Exactly.
order? Has it shipped? Is it even packed? Like, is there a stock out? I've got the order acknowledgement. That doesn't mean I'm going to get it. So being able to provide that information to the customer gives them the reassurance. Even
Yeah.
if it's like slightly slower service than they expected, at least I know. Because if I
Hmm.
don't, I'm going to worry about am I even going to get my order? I'm going to go to the end. I'm going to catastrophize at
Well,
that point.
here's a really quick example. If I pay for 2 day shipping, I should pretty well reasonably assume I'm going to get the tracking number by the end of the day, I mean, whatever they put in the order, or by the end of the next day. Otherwise, it's not 2 day shipping. I'm not getting it for a week, right?
Yeah.
So I have that expectation already in my head that I'm waiting for an email to come in, right? Waiting for this tracking number to come in. I'm waiting to see, where the shipment is, right? If I don't start getting that email, I start getting worried, like, what happened here, right? Am I going to get it? And if it's something I bought that's critical for me, maybe to go on a trip or something like that, now, right, I could be put in a bad position. And that's something,
Hmm.
as a distributor, as a retailer, anything like that, you're shipping something to your customer, even if it's B2B, you don't want to be in that position, right? You
Yeah.
want to provide that insight and visibility, and provide that trust and confidence that
Yeah.
your team, from order entry all the way to shipping, you know, has orchestrated an order to meet your needs.
Yeah, and I think some people, if we're talking about end customers, end customers might um, delay actually putting their order in because they know. So, for example, if it's 2 day shipping, they're like, actually, I'm going to put the order in on Thursday because then it should turn up on Saturday when I'm in.
Exactly.
I do that. I might not order something from Amazon on a Tuesday because if it turns up on a Wednesday, I'm at work. And now it's
Right.
going to go to the sourcing office, and now I've got to drive there to pick it up or get it
Exactly.
re-delivered. So sometimes it's
Exactly.
like, well, I'm going to place my order on this day because I know that I should have it this day.
Yeah.
And the worry sets in when I do that. Say I place my order on a Wednesday because I know that I'm going to be home on a Friday, and come like Thursday, and I haven't even got the email saying it's dispatched. Well, where is it? It's supposed to be turning
Where
up
is it?
tomorrow.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. So, that I think that's definitely an important point there,
yeah,
because meet the customer's expectations.
yeah. Yeah. All right, point number four. What have we got? Point number four. I think we've touched upon this a couple of times, but let's dig into why this is a benefit, especially for a shipping team. Um, the whole idea of having a natural workflow in a single system. I know we've harped on about this so many times about the ERP being the central source and the source of truth, but what do we mean by this as being a benefit when it comes to a shipping team of having our workflow in a single system?
I mean, we've been screaming this on top of a mountain, Peter. Since I think we started our podcast. You're in a single system. Everyone is working under a single set of under a single roof, right? Everyone has visibility of when shipments are going to be late, what hasn't shipped out the door, why they haven't shipped out the door, right? It has domino effects when you are in a single system, where once you ship, you could immediately invoice. You know, you could do a lot of things without having to log into separate systems. And this is a single-handedly, I think, one of the best um, um, factors to consider an ERP system for the shipping team is that it creates a natural workflow all within the same UI. It's embedded your APIs, right? It allows you to expand your team if you need to, because you're standardizing your processes, and add more people to stay in a single system. It's just a lot of benefits there, where it's you know you're staying within a solution that's supported by the publisher. And you're getting your actual rates. You're able to ship. You're able to print a label. It all happens all within the same software. So it's that to me is just a huge benefit. You don't have to log into UPS World Ship. You don't have to log into FedEx Manager. You don't have to log into DHL. You don't have to log into 25 different portals separately to finish
Hmm.
your shipping process. That last
Yeah,
step, you take it the last mile, and it finishes in the software, in the ERP
yeah,
system.
yeah. I think this benefit really ties into other teams. So, like your finance team, because I've got duplication of work and I've had to alt tab to UPS Workshop to confirm the shipment. Then I got busy and I had to go and do something. Now it's month end and I got a load of stuff that has been picked but hasn't been marked as shipped now I'm having to go back to the shipping team and go, hey, have you actually like shipped this? Like, oh yeah, I have.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Right.
it has been shipped. Fine. From a customer point of view, it's been shipped.
Yeah.
But I haven't told my system, my ERP system that,
Right.
then I've got to chase, did you actually pick this? Did you actually ship this? Whereas if we can bring that all together, then at the same time as marking it shipped or confirming the shipment in my ERP,
Mm-hmm.
means that I've confirmed it on, if we tie this back to the shipment carrier integration, which means I've confirmed the shipment on my UPS world ship. My company, or like all of my departments that care about this shipment, also know. So finance know
Yep.
that they can invoice it, etc., etc. It's also probably made some inventory transactions in the back end as well. That also ties into my whole idea of having real time inventory visibility.
Mm-hmm.
This is huge, isn't it? Really, having
It
this
is.
workflow, because the workflow hasn't changed. I'm still
Right.
doing the same thing. I'm still physically picking and shipping, but because I'm now doing that workflow in a single system, it means that everything's up to date at the same time. Like my UPS world ship is up to date. My finance team know that I have actually shipped it and it's fine to invoice. My
Mm-hmm.
inventory is correct because it's now shipped and reduced
Yeah.
inventory.
Yeah.
um, Customer service know that it's now shipped, and if they
Exactly.
get any inquiries from the customer about where their order is, they can see the same system.
Yeah.
And I've been there before when I've sat in customer service, and a customer phones up, "Where's my order? My PO number 1234. What's happening with it?" I go to the ERP. Let's have a look.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last thing
Yeah.
was me sending a dispatch note down. Where is it? Let me log
Mm-hmm.
into UPS. Can I find it there? No, maybe we
Exactly.
didn't ship it on UPS. Let me log
Right.
into DHL. Is it there? Like
Right.
all the time, I've got this customer on the phone wondering why he can
Yeah.
just hear me tapping away at a keyboard. Like all of
Yeah.
that goes away if we can bring in, or at least connect to outside systems and bring in the workflow so it's just operating in one single system.
Yeah.
The benefits here are massive, and I think this one really ties into all of the other points.
Yeah. And just think of it this way as well. What if your shipping clerk takes a day off, right? Or is no longer with the company? You don't have to worry about pieces of paper sitting around in other people's desks because they still need to. Did they go into the portals? Did they print the label? Did they arrange the freight? Did they not do this? Did they not do that? Right? A lot of
Yeah,
questions. Instead of you working a single system, pick up where the other person left off. You could tell the order's still open. You could tell
yeah,
there's no label, or if there was a label, you could reprint it right from the ERP system. You know what cost they generated, right? Or you refund the label and print a new label. Like it, you're in a single system. You could really quickly, um, you know,
yeah,
ascertain, what we need to do next, and not have to be held quote unquote hostage by all this tribal knowledge that's been on pieces of paper and post-it notes across people's desks in the shipping department, and then try to put it together on how we're going to ship this out, how we're going to ship this product out, right?
yeah,
Staying in a single system just creates a much clearer workflow for everybody in the shipping department.
yeah. I can imagine that post-it note sat on the desk, like, make sure you print the UPS manifest, and then make sure you send this to this person and fax this over to. It's like,
Yeah,
oh
exactly.
man,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
All right, point number 5. And I think, well, all 5 of these points have been really
Kind of
connected together.
interrelated here. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. But this is kind of the overall one here is the increased collaboration between shipping team and sales or customer service. So
yeah.
bringing teams together. I really like this idea of kind of the people aspect of an ERP and the technical aspect of the ERP. We talked about the technical aspect. It brings everything under one roof. It's a single source of
Right.
truth. Everyone's working on the same data.
Yep.
No one's got their own version of the data. Everything's together. But also on that is the people side. It's the collaboration. It's bringing everyone together who are
Hmm.
looking at the same thing. Um, and there's no kind of like issue with what should I believe? Should I believe the sales
Yep.
team? Did they actually print this? Did they actually tell the customer this? Did they actually print the pick list?
Yeah.
So it's the
Yeah.
whole idea of collaboration of
Yeah.
people. that I like when we talk about this kind of bringing stuff into a single system. So
Yeah.
when we talk about collaboration, um, the things the thing I wanted to say when we were discussing, I think it was point number 2, real-time inventory visibility. When we're
Hmm.
talking about shipping and hitting dates and being able to ship things on time, which order should we ship, etc., etc.
Hmm.
Uh, the biggest thing for me when we talk about collaboration of teams, immediately I thought about the importance of date management.
Mm.
Um, Being able to manage dates, sales need to ensure that they're putting in the correct and realistic dates.
Hmm.
And then that gives the visibility down to the shipping team of maybe the priority of orders that need to be shipped.
Yeah.
Like, let me
Hmm.
start from the orders that we're expecting to, or my sales team are expecting to ship tomorrow,
Hmm.
versus the ones that have a shipment date of next week.
Right.
So at least the shipping team can kind of start to see the sales urgency, or at least the
Hmm.
priority of sales.
Hmm.
So there's
Hmm.
no kind of back and forward between teams. Like, oh well, why
Yeah.
did you ship this order before this order? Like,
Exactly.
if you've got solid date management, then both teams should know what the priority is.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit so many points there. I think um, all value add, right? In terms of how, this integrated ERP system with integrated shipping will help benefit the shipping department. But, it's where you don't have to take paperwork manually back and forth, front office to the shipping department, right? You don't have to have delayed invoicing. It could happen more real time. Um, if there's back orders, if there's issues from an inventory standpoint in the shipping side, that information gets pretty much automatically gets updated into the system. So customer service should have some sort
Mm-hmm.
of dashboard or view of what's happening there. It makes when a customer calls in to this customer service team on status of order, status of shipment, very real time for them, but because they could see if the order shipped or not shipped, right? It has a lot of benefits, and I think retailers now probably have so much pressure to provide really good customer service, know exactly where your customer orders are at because customers demand that at the end of the day. So, I think you're gonna be far ahead as an organization when you could have an ERP that has integrated shipping capabilities so you could respond to your customer requests much 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 faster, basically. So it's a natural and necessary collaboration nowadays
Yeah.
to make sure information gets both upstream and downstream, kind of like
Yep.
automatically without
Yep.
any type of manual intervention, moving paperwork back and forth, sending emails, that type of stuff. I think you're going to be way behind the 8 ball if you do that, and you have to say, hold on, Mr. Customer, let me call my shipping team and see if they shipped it out because it was supposed to ship out yesterday, right? You could actually see it right there. You could see it
Yep.
on the screen. Mr. Customer, I'm sorry, we couldn't ship it out because we had this issue. There's a defect in the product. We want to make sure that we packed it fully and entirely, so we're shipping it out today, right?
Yep.
And here's your label, just so you know. So
Yeah.
it's the collaboration, and I think if there's any two departments that have to be close in sync with each other, has to be shipping and sales.
I think my call to action on this is I would really encourage whoever's like leading an ERP implementation or an ERP migration, is I really encourage these people, these operational leaders, or whoever's leading that project, bring shipping managers into an ERP discussion as early as you can. They need to be in the room when it's being kicked off. They need to be in the room. Well, they really need a seat at the table as part of the core team. Depends how you set up your core team, but I really like the idea of having a leader of every different department being in that core team. But this is as you said, the intimacy between sales and shipping is so great that it's a non-negotiable for me that you should have the operational leader be someone that is well versed with shipping and what their needs are when it comes
Hmm.
to implementing an ERP because it's
Yeah,
critical. Um, So that's where I kind of stand on that. I think it's
Yeah,
the make or break. It doesn't matter how good your customer service team are at taking the order, being in communication with the customer, giving great customer service. If the customer doesn't get their product on time, doesn't mean anything. And that really
exactly.
comes with having the shipping team be heavily involved in an ERP project, just
Yep.
as much as finance, just as much as production.
Hmm.
So definitely get them into those discussions as early as possible.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in a point six. I thought about this when we were talking. I'm like, what else is there when it comes to
Yeah.
this kind of conversation? Um, I don't want to kind of elongate this anymore, but
Yeah.
I think the actual operations of shipment. So if I haven't got an ERP and I might just have paperwork everywhere, maybe I have a pigeonhole system of what takes priority. You think of an ERP for a shipment person. If you've got a large distribution warehouse, you can also leverage the picking itself. So instead of having to walk up and down that aisle to the back 15 times a day, I can actually leverage different picking modes. I might be doing batch picking. I might be
Mm-hmm.
doing different kind of like wave picking, for example.
Right.
These are
Right.
new kind of terminology for people. Maybe you know this if you're kind of in warehouse management anyway, but optimizing the actual picking process itself. So being able to have, maybe you have 50 different dispatch notes, but all 50 send me to the same area. I might want to, when I'm in that area, pick all of the goods for all of
Mm-hmm.
those 50 and bring
Mm-hmm.
them back to the shipping location rather than
Yep.
walk down that aisle 50 different times. So I think
Totally.
an ERP can really leverage the actual physical job itself and
Yep.
optimize that. It's not just optimizing the tech as much as we can say, well, you've got shipment carrier integration, great. But if it takes me 6 hours to pick stuff
Yeah.
because without an ERP system, I'm having to do 10,000 steps a day, you might be
Right.
able to leverage a different type of picking mode to reduce the actual step count of my workers and optimize that picking. You might find that they can pick in half the time. No extra
Mm-hmm.
orders, but now they can pick in half the time.
Yeah.
That might actually also link into the growth of the business. Like, oh, I
Mm-hmm.
can't grow, I can't take on any more orders. To be able to take on more orders, I'd have to bring on more warehouse staff. It might not be the
Exactly.
case. If you can
Right.
actually make it more efficient, the picking
Yeah.
process itself, you
Yeah.
might be able to grow quicker on the same overhead.
Yeah.
Um, what do
Excellent
you think
point.
about that in terms of like picking
Yeah, I think
process?
that's an excellent point because ERP is designed to help you find any inefficiencies. So shipping being one of them, right? You may realize like it's taking too long to pick product. It's not efficient. And
Mm,
we need to optimize our picking process or change the warehouse flow where, based on what we are 80% of the time shipping, that 80% comes up to the front, closer to the shipping area, the 20% stays in the back, right? And you could create this, picking model that helps the shipping team really, turn around the shipments faster. And
yeah.
the more you could do that, the more you could try to look at that workflow, right? I think there's going to be a lot of surprises for companies that don't currently have this type of integrated setup where they could make changes quickly to help the shipping team get organized, right?
Mm,
And increase their throughput so they could ship more to the customer at the end of the day. So
yeah.
that's a great, excellent point as number six because um, we want to empower our users, right? ERP is designed to empower users. They're people-based systems at the end of the day, and why just have them keep this information in their head when you have all this analytics and processes that you could standardize and take
Mm.
action on?
Good. I think that wraps it up.
Yeah.
It's nice to wrap up this one. It's true. An ERP can definitely empower shipping managers really to work smarter, not harder. Um, Everything from real time visibility, cost control, or at least cost visibility and collaboration between sales, customer service, and the rest of the business. So I would say if this episode sparked any ideas, or maybe your shipping team is buried in spreadsheets and logging into multiple customer portals, it might be a time to explore if there's an ERP that can consolidate that down into a single source, as we always say. So thank you very much. Thanks for tuning in.
Absolutely.
The ABCs of ERP and Beyond. We shoot episodes and release every 2 weeks. So don't forget to subscribe. Share this episode with your ops or logistics team. We do this for fun. We do this for free. There's no adverts. So we really rely on people that do listen to share it, like it, wherever you find us, whether that be smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. So wherever you found us, we are on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, all of the major podcast platforms. We also shoot and publish to YouTube as well. We often do demos of ERP that you can see on YouTube. So make sure you check us out on there. Nirav, where can people find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn. Find us on LinkedIn pretty easily. Nirav.h.shah. Talk about, continue the conversation there. We post a lot of our episodes there, so you'll find our LinkedIn page, the ABCs of ERP and Beyond. Feel free to give us a holler if you have any topic recommendations, something that's concerning you. You want to see a demo of something, let us know. More than happy to take that on and show you how to navigate this world of ERP software in your space.
Sounds good. Enjoy the next 2 weeks, and I will catch you on the next episode.
Excellent. Peter.
See ya.